Trapped by the belief that I'm not good enough, bound by the limitations and the lies that consumed my world, this was me. It wasn't until I took the biggest leap in my life to know and trust the power within. And it was at that moment I made a choice. My past will not define me anymore. Hello, I am Teri, and I know I am not alone in this. Over the years, I have found that the number one mistake that we make is that we get in the way of our own success story. Yes, I said it. On this show, together we'll tackle limiting beliefs, self sabotage, getting stuck, fear, doubt, overwhelm, and the imposter syndrome. Join us on this journey designed to transport you beyond your limitations to a world where anything is possible. This is Talking with Teri.
Hi, and welcome back to Talking with Teri, where we have powerful conversations to transform your life and your business. And I'm excited for our guest today. And she has some visitors. She has some like these beautiful singing birds in the background. So I hope they get to come and play with us today. Our guest, Tina Ginn, is an emergency preparedness coach, which is super fascinating, a financial expert, a podcaster, a best-selling author of the In a Blink of an Eye. Welcome, Tina, to the show.
Welcome. Thank you. Thank you, listeners. Thank you, Teri, for having me on.
Yes.
Very blessed today.
So tell me a little bit about you, like bring us up to speed, how you came to be where you're at today, for the listeners that haven't checked you out yet.
Awesome. I guess it all started, I feel like the universe has definitely had me trained to get to this part in my journey. Absolutely. And I go to the high road instead of looking at the moment, because when you are an eagle and you can soar over above, you can actually see the bigger picture. And it hurts while you're in it. Absolutely. I can't deny that. That's for sure. I have been trained in many different fields to bring me to this point of creating an app, having the risk management, being able to coach people with their risk, with their preparedness, emergency preparedness, and I want to help women embrace knowing and understanding what they have in their documents to make sure that they have it all together. I always say, do you have your crap together? Because something will happen to you. I can't deny that.
Yeah.
There are many storms that a lot of us go through, obstacles perhaps, but a lot of storms. And it takes to look at the high road, obviously, but also be better prepared so that you're not trying to pick up the pieces, that you're not trying to figure things out when the stress, when shit hits the fan, so to speak.
So was there a moment for you? Is that what led you to this line of career, this path? What was that moment that led you to the work that you're doing now?
I created the app just from being with people. It was an aha moment for me, because I worked with insurance, I worked with disability, life insurance, I worked with financial investments. I've been a Microsoft certified systems engineer, so I have the computer background. I used to train in the college. I was a college professor teaching night school classes in computer stuff, I guess, so to speak, because it was different variation computer things. But it was the aha moment for me when I took all of these different trainings that I've had and really looked at, it's funny how the universe brings you down to, it's like a matchstick with a flame burning. It's like, I'm going to give you this little nugget and I'm going to light it for you. And you're going to see the light bulb come on. And I did that when a girlfriend of mine who was just turned 60, it was Easter time, and her husband had called. They had a dollar store in a small town that they ran. And he called me and said, she's got this cough and she needs to go in for tests. And can you pick her up and drive her home for me? And I said, sure. So make a long story short, he called back afterwards and said she won't be coming back. She'll be in the hospital for a couple more days with tests. I said, okay, just let me know. So I get a phone call that she's not coming home. She's staying in the hospital. She has stage 4 lung cancer,
Mm.
never smoked a day in her life. But I went in to visit her a couple times every week. And I bring her, this cup of tea that you can't find a good drink in the hospital. It always tastes like dishwater. So I just thought I'm going to bring her something good to drink because she doesn't really feel like eating. And when I'd go up in the elevator and the elevator doors would open, I would just get this rush inside me. Like, what is she going to look like? What is she going to be like? How's this going to change? Because every time you go up there, it would just be devastating to see, well, now she's on oxygen. Now she's, all of this sort of change. And it's not getting better. It's getting worse. So one day I had gone with her and took her outside and we just sat on a little bench. And she said, Tina, I just want to hear the birds. I just want to see the blue sky. And I just want to feel the wind on my face.
Mm.
And those are only 3 little sentences, but gosh, that hit me in my heart. And I said, yeah, because you can't be present. You can't be present with the person if you're worried about all the other things in your life or their life. Like, has her husband got all the accounts done? Has he got the shopping done? Has he figured out the bank accounts? Like, there's so many things that you could really worry about and stress about at those moments. But she didn't want to. She just wanted to be present with the moment of enjoyment of life.
Wow.
And so I said, I have to do something with this, because when you don't have your crap together, things hit hard.
Yeah.
And you don't know what's up. Sometimes you don't even know what's down. And it was really like this universe had told me, you got to fix this. You have to help people.
Wow.
So that's where it started. And then it evolved from there, because I took I always call it, I took a pregnancy moment. I wasn't pregnant, but I had a whole lot of things happen to me because I wasn't listening.
Yeah.
And I had a horrific car accident. I went back to, I was working at the bank at the time, in my line of business and financial advisor role. And I found I couldn't work. I had crutches, I had casts, I had horrible things all over. But as soon as I got a little bit better, I realized I couldn't work. My brain, my concussion was too bad that I just couldn't focus. I couldn't do multitasking. Even to this day, it's 4 years now for me, and it's still there, and I still struggle with it. But I had to really look at going back to work after being on disability for a few months, and they had hired someone else. So therefore, I lost my job, not by rights. I lost my job because they're technically not allowed to do that.
Right.
But it was a sign for me to show me that the next step was that I wasn't getting the support in the marriage of 30 years. And it was a wake-up call for me to say, enough is enough.
Yeah.
As hard as it was, at the worst part of your soul, you lost your job, you're losing your family, you lost your body, so to speak, you lost your brain. And what else could you lose, really?
Yeah.
And I just said, no, I have to do this. I have to have the right support in my life. I need it. I deserve it. And I moved on to the next stage of divorce. And then my 2 daughters, who are in their 20s now, said, we don't agree with you, basically, and we're just not going to talk to you anymore.
How
So,
devastating.
yeah. So I guess there's 4 things, although I always thought the universe gave them to you in 3s.
You're breaking the mold, baby. But I truly believe that we're never given more than what we can have. So that just tells me that you're one super badass, right?
I guess.
Yeah. So, I mean, you went through all of this. I mean, one of those could be enough to set a person over the edge, right? Obviously, there was a lot of strength and courage and just like that never die, like I'm going to fight and I'm going to pull myself back off the floor. And I think this is a great message to hear, because I think sometimes in our darkest moments and our darkest days, like we lose hope, we lose faith, we lose touch of, what is that I am here to do.
Yeah.
And somewhere in that mess became your message, and you pulled out of it, and you are here today with us, doing some incredible things.
Yes.
What was I guess what is your like biggest takeaway or your biggest lesson learned during that moment?
I think the lessons learned was, first, I had to take time for myself, which I took time away from your backup plan. I took time away to work on me, both body, mind, and soul. I worked on my body. I lost 50 pounds. I worked on my exercise. I worked on my health. I worked on eating better. I worked on, even though the hardest thing for me was having a family with 2 kids. I mean, they're not kids anymore, but still, and a husband, to only focusing on you. It was like this huge change. I was like, who is this person?
Yeah.
Who am I? And I really had to take time, and I feel blessed that I was given that opportunity, and I feel there's a bigger lesson in it, because you have to look. I know when it's tough when you're in it, and I always talk about the door, about being in a dark room, because when you're in it, it's just a dark, dreary room, and there's no light in the room at all. There's no window and there's no door. But I managed to walk around that room, feeling all the walls, looking for that door handle. And as soon as I could feel that door handle, I just turned it a little bit and then cranked it open, and I saw there was light around the door. And that was my aha moment, where I was like, okay, I'm getting there. I see the light. Okay, what's next? And then I was able to build the strength up in myself to pull the door open, because when you can actually pull the door, see the beauty behind the door, the light, that I could actually pull the door open and then step through it. And believe me, listeners, whatever is on the other side of that door, it's amazing. It's whatever you visualize. If you close your eyes right now, is it a beach? Is it a sunset? Is it a meadow of flowers? Is it a beautiful patio with wildlife? Like whatever that looks like for you. I found mine with the ocean, because I'm a Pisces. So
I'm a Scorpio, but I'm a still water sign. So I'm right there with you. I love it.
Yeah.
But I mean, and you're right. It is worth going around and figuring out, like, I love your metaphor about the dark room, right? Because I think so often we get trapped in that fear, that doubt, that worry, and we lose hope. And the message that I hear you saying, or what I'm hearing you say, is that, we got to dig deep. It is in those moments that define us. It is those moments that is going to drop us to our knees, that we have got to find the strength within. And even if it's just a little glimmer of hope, then we fight to expand that. We fight to, bring that to the surface, so that we can continue searching each wall, so until we do find that door, because we don't have to live there forever. And I want to go back to what you said earlier, and that is, like, I had to find me, and literally had the conversation. I had a lunch date today And in the conversation, we talked about like, you know, this concept of finding me, right? Like, who am I? Who am I? Because I think we get so much in our journeys, we get labeled with various, roles and responsibilities and duties. And sometimes as females, and I'm going to speak from a female perspective, as females, we give, and then whatever's left over, if there is anything left over, then we take for ourselves, right? And so I love the fact that your message is, you had to take time for yourself and really discover what that was for you in that moment, because I guarantee you those darkest moments of your life has made you the brilliant being that you are today.
Well, thank you. I feel that, no one taught me this, but I just feel that, did I do horrible things in the 30 years of marriage? Absolutely. I think everybody did. I think you can't blame the other person. You have to look at it as lessons. Life lessons are the hardest things. Wow.
Yes.
Universe always says, hey, you dealt with this, so here's another one.
I'm done, for crying out loud. Like, I agree. I literally, today I actually did my first solo podcast, and this was the topic I was talking about. So it's so funny how it's like so divinely timed, because I was talking about how often when we look at a person that's successful, we like, oh, they must have been lucky. They must have not had. And I have found, from my years of being the therapist, in the chair behind closed doors, to, the work that I do now, I have not found yet. I might, I'm not poo-pooing it that it hasn't happened yet, but I have not found a person that hasn't overcome something in their lives. And whether that's something, huge. There's no really size difference, because it's impacting us in the way it needs to impact us. But I haven't found that person that has not had to have to overcome something, and that's why I'm so inspired by stories like yourself and many, many others that I've had on the show, is that I want to highlight this, because I think so often we forget that if I'm starting to look at someone over here, it doesn't mean that they are perfect and, that they've had their stuff figured out. They've gone through the trenches with us, and, it's not fair for us to compare, like, my middle to somebody else's, or, somebody else's middle to my beginnings. Right.
Yeah.
And so what would you, and now, like, you're doing this preparedness. So I'm curious about this, because you're helping people get prepared for tragedy when tragedy happens. And I can't emphasize that enough for the listeners. We'll be putting your information down in the show notes to, reach out, because, like you said, like that individual that really, was the aha moment for you is, being able to be present in the present is a powerful gift at any point in our lives. And if I don't have to worry about figuring things out, putting together a plan, putting together, things in place, it makes it so much easier, And I even remember when my great grandmother passed away, they didn't have any, they clearly had stuff put together, but it was all over the place. And years later, I'm talking about 2 or 3 years later, my mom got, notification that there were still bank accounts that they hadn't. And I think there's a process that happens once they, notify someone next to kin or something, like, hey, there's been no activity here. But they were finding years later that there was like money stashed like all over in different states and in different bank accounts. So, making it easy for that next, for the executor on that estate, and making it easy for the caretakers, making it easy is just a profound message. So just take a few minutes here and just kind of share what that process looks like for people, and like, what do they need to know?
Absolutely. It's so true, because if I was to ask you, where's all your papers right now? Well, people say, well, they're in the drawer, they're in the closet, they're in the filing cabinet,
or on my computer with protected passwords.
Yeah. Or in a safe where you can't get access.
Yeah, or I don't have one. Yes.
I had a client on one of my podcasts, actually, who, it was 6 years after her dad passed away, and she's still going through the
My
stuff.
goodness.
And it
Yes.
took her 3 weeks to find his will that he said that he had all done for her. She was a single child in a divorced mom and dad. And he had a heart attack and died. And he had always said, "Oh, I have a will done." But it was on top of a garbage can. That's where they found it.
Oh my heavens.
Yeah, he had it, but where? And she even paid someone to come in and open the safe to find out that there was Home Depot flyers in it.
That's useful. I
Yeah.
mean, it might have been like a 50% discount. Who knows? I mean,
He was
20% no go, but 50%.
he loved it, obviously.
Something maybe.
But yeah, so I take it like I love that podcast. It was in one of my earlier ones last year. And it's so true how a young girl had to maneuver through his stuff to try and find it. And it's one of the biggest problems in United States, UK, Australia, Canada right now is unclaimed money. Unclaimed money keeps on going up because we are not prepared. We do not know what our parents have. We do not know what our sisters, brothers have. And I'm not saying how much money they have in their accounts, just where is their stuff.
Yeah.
And I have a new program called the Emerging Blueprint that goes with your backup plan app. And it's 12 modules, and it guides you through the process of putting your stuff into the app. And then, why do I have to do things? Why do I have to do a will? Why do I need a power of attorney? Why do I need life insurance? What kind of life insurance do I need? Where are my investments? Are the investments realistic? Are they going to give me my retirement fund that I want? How to understand these things? Because what I found was people go to an accountant and they only look after that little square. And then they go to a lawyer and they look after that little square. So you have a lot of little squares that aren't
Connected
melded together.
Yeah.
So in your backup plan and in the Emerging Blueprint, it's a program that helps empowers you to understand. If I don't understand something, I can take a 20-minute video on Tina's platform and watch it and understand what I need to do, or ask, or reach out to somebody to get help and understand what it is I have. Maybe what I have isn't the right thing. Maybe I was sold something that I don't understand. What is it? Because I used to go to clients' houses and they would throw a whole bunch of insurance down on the table. And I'd say, "What do you have?" "Well, I don't know." And I'd say, "Well, what worries you the most? If something happened today, what worries you the most?" And it had nothing to do with what they actually had in paper. So what I look at is, what is it you want? Don't buy something because someone said it's the best thing. Look at what is it that I want? How long do I want it for? All of those things. But the little things in your backup plan is something as small as like losing your key, or like, how do I get into my parents' house if something happened to them? Where is the key? Where's the key to the shed? How do I get in to pay their bill? And especially during COVID, something can happen so quickly. A wildfire, you're given a 5-minute evacuation notice, which I've had in the past. What do you grab? Do I have it prepared? Do I have an emergency kit? Do I have my photos in an area I can grab? Because we want to keep that.
Yeah.
What else do I grab? Do I have that ready? Because it's going to go up in smoke.
Yeah.
Hurricane, tornado, all of that kind of stuff. Anything really. Cancer, stroke, heart attack. Our lives change in the blink of an eye. And I always, that's where my story came from, that I wrote. And it's basically like this. In the blink of an eye, your life changes.
Yeah.
And it truly does.
This is so good. So, listeners, I want you to connect with Tina today. Okay, not tomorrow, not next week, today, and check out her information, reach out to her. So, Tina, what's the best way to reach out to you?
You can email me at tina@yourbackupplan.ca, Instagram, Your Backup Plan, Facebook, Your Backup Plan. Easy schmeezy.
Perfect.
I'm on
We're
Facebook,
gonna
Instagram,
We're going to
everywhere.
drop all those links down below in the show notes. So make it really easy. Just click on her. It'll take you directly to her page. Tina, thank you for your courage, your toughness, your fighter warrior like self that came out fighting. And so we are blessed to know you. We are blessed to have you be part of the work that you're doing. And I know that you are making people's lives so much better and helping people. The greatest gift that you could possibly give one person is that being present in the present. So thank you so much for what you do.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. Thank you.
I am so grateful that you joined me for this episode. If you've enjoyed this, then there's just one thing that I would like you to do. Click to subscribe and leave me a rating and review. As my way to thank you, let's connect for a free consultation. Just reach out to me at talkingwithteri, that's TERI.com, to book your time.